Imagine just for a second, you're standing in Riga Central Market. It's bustling. You hear chatter, footsteps, maybe some traffic coming outside. Or maybe picture the total opposite, the quiet of Holovalgarar Cemetery in Reykjavik. Just wind, maybe some leaves rustling, distant birds. Now imagine experiencing all that just through sound, no visuals. That's what we're diving into today, this really fascinating world of soundscapes. Our mission really is to explore how these, well, unique audio experiences are captured and curated. And, what can they actually tell us about different places all around the world? So for this deep dive, we've got some great sources. There's this pretty robust database of urban sound recordings, mainly for research. And alongside that, something a bit more, let's say, experiential. A collection people are calling audio postcards. Okay, so let's start maybe with the craft behind it all. How do you even capture a slice of reality purely through sound? Let's unpack this first source, recording urban soundscapes of the world. It introduces this, well, really impressive database, something like 130 high-quality audiovisual recordings from 9 cities globally. And what's really great is they're totally free to use for research, for education.
Yeah, it's fascinating the technical side of it. Each recording isn't just one thing. You get a high-res 360-degree video plus really detailed audio, sometimes multiple kinds. They talk about 4-channel ambisonics audio files, which, capture sound from everywhere, like a sphere around you. And also sometimes binaural audio, which is recorded specifically so it sounds incredibly realistic when you use headphones. Like you're actually there. And the quality is top-notch, 48 kilohertz sample rate, 24-bit PCM. So super detailed. Crucially, everything is time-synced. Audio, video, perfectly matched. Oh, and a quick note, the full 360 videos aren't up right now, but they do have these 360-degree stills, which still give you a really good visual sense of the place.
That level of detail, wow, it sounds incredibly precise. I'm really curious about the actual recording setup. The source says it's pretty portable, like 10 minutes to set up or take down. What goes into designing something like that? Is it just balancing, portability and quality, or are there other challenges?
That's a really good point. It's definitely a balance. They use very specialized mics, things like the Core Sound Tetramic for the ambisonics, high-end recorders like the Tascam DR680 MKII. For the video, it was a GoPro Omni rig capturing that 360 view. And then, yeah, the really interesting bit, the head acoustics artificial head for the binaural sound. A big challenge is just making sure it all works together seamlessly, is calibrated, but also quick to deploy in, all sorts of urban spots.
An artificial head. Okay, right, you mentioned that. That sounds almost out of science fiction. What exactly does that do? How does it change how you capture sound? And also, I noticed the source mentions different heights for the gear. The head around 1.5 meters, camera 1.7, ambisonics, mic 1.9. Why the difference?
Well, the artificial head, it's designed quite literally to mimic how we humans hear. It has microphones placed precisely where your eardrums would be, inside replica ear canals. So it captures sound with all the subtle cues your brain uses to figure out direction and space. That's what makes binaural audio so incredibly immersive with headphones.
Ah, okay, so it's physically replicating the human listening experience.
Exactly. And the different heights are strategic. The head is at about average human ear height, maybe 1.5 meters. The camera's a bit higher at 1.7 for a good viewpoint. And the ambisonics mic higher still at 1.9, perhaps to get it slightly above immediate ground level obstructions. The whole system gets pointed, towards whatever the main sound source or the key visual element is. That sets the front for the 360 video and the ambisonics. The binaural head just stays fixed in that orientation. And they record during the day, needs good weather, low wind, basically capturing a clean snapshot in time.
It's amazing how much thought goes into just recreating that feeling of being there. It's like building this super accurate sonic picture. Which brings me to calibration. Accuracy needs consistent measurement, right? How do they make sure all these recordings from different cities, different days are comparable? What are these LAIC values mentioned?
Right, calibration is key. All the audio files are referenced to the same level, so you can genuinely compare them. The source focuses on the LAIC values from the binaural recordings, specifically 1-minute averages. LAIC is basically the average sound pressure level over that time period. Think of it like an average loudness.
Okay, an average loudness. Makes sense.
Yeah, but what's really insightful is how they use it. They compare the LAIC of both channels mixed to mono versus the energetic average of the left and right channels separately. The difference between those two values tells you something really interesting: how correlated the sound is at both ears.
Correlated. What does that mean in terms of sound?
Well, if sounds are highly correlated, they're very similar at both ears, which might mean the sound source is directly in front or the space is less reverberant. Lower correlation suggests a more diffuse, spacious, or enveloping sound field. Sounds coming from different directions, more reflections.
Ah, I see. So it's not just how loud, but also about the spatial quality,
Yeah.
the shape of the sound.
Exactly. It's a subtle measure, but it gives you insight into the acoustic character of the space itself. A sonic fingerprint, like you said earlier. They mention that LA kick from the ambisonics is less straightforward because there isn't really a standard way to calculate a single comparable value from it yet.
That's fascinating. So you can learn things about a place from the sound data that you just completely miss visually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You might see a quiet park, but the data could reveal this constant low-frequency hum from traffic miles away, showing how the city still permeates that space.
Right. Or maybe a chaotic market actually has pockets of relative quiet you wouldn't notice otherwise.
Precisely. It pushes you to listen differently, beyond just the obvious sounds.
Okay, so that covers the sort of deep science, the technical side. But how does that translate into something, you or I can just experience?
Sure.
That brings us nicely to our second source. This one feels much more about the evocative power of sound. It's called Soundscapes from the World's Tracks by photographer Daniel Salinas Cordova. And these are described as 1-minute audio postcards from places around the world, which sounds lovely. They even have a map feature so you can see where each one is from.
Yeah, and this connects perfectly back to what we were just discussing. If the Urban Soundscapes database is let's say, the scientific foundation, these audio postcards are like the art built on top of it. They use those same principles of careful recording, maybe not always with an artificial head, but definitely focused on capturing the essence of a place through sound. They turn that raw data into something immediately accessible, something emotionally resonant.
Right, it's less about the LEEC value and more about the feeling.
Exactly. When you listen to his recording of, say, the Riga Central Market, you're not thinking about calibration. You're hearing the specific sounds, the energy, the atmosphere. It's the story of the place, told just through its sound. It lets you kind of mentally travel there instantly.
And the examples listed are amazing. You've got Hruvamur Farm in Iceland. I can almost imagine the peace. Then Hólavallagur Cemetery in Reykjavik. That quiet contemplation again. But then totally different vibes, like the Cobblestone Pub in Dublin. The energy must be incredible.
Yeah, the contrast is part of the beauty.
Or the Port of Tallinn in Estonia. What would that even sound like? Machinery, water.
Probably a unique mix, very industrial, maybe rhythmic sounds.
Then you have Tolentango, Mexico, more natural sounds, presumably. Helsinki, Finland, urban hum again.
Likely, yeah. Each city has its own signature hum.
St. Petersburg, Russia. Copenhagen Botanical Garden, another contrast, urban nature. And even a taco stand in Mexico City. The sizzle.
Huh. Yeah, you can almost smell that one just thinking about the sound.
Such a diverse collection.
It really is. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, these examples just brilliantly show the sheer diversity of soundscapes out there. And they give you these unique insights into places, into cultures that visuals alone just can't provide.
It makes you think, doesn't it, how much we rely on sight.
We really do. But sound can be just as characteristic, sometimes even more so. Think about the sound of bells from a specific church or a particular type of train horn. These recordings, they let you listen to the world deeply. It offers a different kind of understanding, often quite profound.
So wrapping this up then, we've gone from the really complex technical methods, high-res audio, ambisonics, artificial heads, all for research, to these much more immediate, evocative audio postcards that just capture the feeling of a place in like 60 seconds.
Yeah, it shows the spectrum, doesn't it? From pure data to pure experience, all rooted in capturing sound.
So what's the big takeaway here? What does this all really mean?
Well, I think this raises a really important question about the broader value of these soundscapes. It's not just for researchers in labs, though that's incredibly valuable. Think about cultural preservation. Capturing the sonic identity of a place. Maybe a market before it gets modernized, or a street before the traffic patterns change entirely.
Like preserving an old photograph, but for ears.
Exactly. Imagine 50 years from now listening to the exact sounds of that Riga market as it was recorded. That's powerful. And education, too. You can virtually transport students to different environments, give them a real feel for geography, for culture, beyond just text or pictures.
A whole new dimension to learning about the world.
It really is. Ultimately, it encourages us all to just listen more closely, to appreciate the acoustic world around us. It reinforces that idea that knowledge, well, it's most valuable when you can actually understand it, feel it, apply it to how you experience things.
That makes a lot of sense. And it leaves me with one final thought, really. Given that these recordings are described as capturing a snapshot in time, How vital could these soundscapes become as, like, auditory time capsules, preserving the unique sound of places for future generations, especially as those sounds inevitably change or maybe even disappear entirely?